Welcome to The Business Fighter with Henry Penix. Henry has been the CEO, founder, and consultant to hundreds of companies worldwide. He retired a multimillionaire, financially independent at the age of 35. Henry grew up a preacher's son and was thrown in jail 3 times for various altercations. He knows what it means to come from nothing and have to fight his way to the top. Henry is the business fighter who will teach you strategic skills for winning in business and in life. Don't just spectate, participate. It's time to get in the ring.
Hi, Henry Penix, the business fighter, bringing you another podcast direct from Venice Beach, California. I'm with a guy who I'm very humbled to be around first because of the things that he's done, the places that he's been, and I don't want to jump too much into it now and try to explain it because I want you to hear it directly from him. His name is Paul Ziert, like dessert. He's very sweet, and from what I've known from him so far. I think you're going to love listening to the story of how he coached Bart Conner, the Olympic gold medalist in the '84 Olympics, took him to gold, did outstanding things for the University of Oklahoma. We're actually in his Venice Beach house here, which I don't think I'm leaving. I think I'm going to move here after today, but I'm so happy to have him with me. Everything that I see in his house here is made from different pieces of different things, and it's all artistic and it all means something, just as his life is. I want to examine those pieces, see what makes the man, and learn something as we do it. So, Paul, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
My pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. So how did it all begin? Did you start coaching, or what did you do?
Actually, I grew up in a little town called Creve Coeur, Illinois, of all places, right? It's up on the hill looking down on East Peoria, Illinois, which is across the river from Peoria, Illinois.
All right.
And so not many people know much about that area, but I went through grade school and high school, and then I went on to college. And I like to tell people, one of the favorite things about it, this was the home of Caterpillar Tractor Company, so most people worked in blue-collar jobs, as my father did. And but I didn't even realize at the time what a great high school we had, because I love telling this story. A guy that sat next to me, his name was Patrick Winston. WZ, back left corner of the classroom.
Right.
And we were in all the honors classes together. And you think you're doing all right. I go off to college. He goes to MIT, does his undergraduate, graduate, and PhD there, and went on to be on the faculty and started their artificial intelligence department.
No way.
It's unbelievable.
From that school.
Yeah, and I tell people, you can't limit yourself by where you were dropped into this thing we called life. You have to just pay attention. Yeah, and live, as I keep saying, it's so trite, but it's true, live in the moment and get as much out of everything as you can. But in my case, then I was supposed to go to the University of Illinois on a partial athletic scholarship, gymnastics. I was basically a tumbler and trampolinist. Not great, but enough to do that. But then I hurt my elbow, so literally 4 months before I was supposed to go, I could not accept the scholarship because I said I shouldn't do gymnastics anymore. So I ran and got an academic scholarship, the Dirksen scholarship. Senator Dirksen at the time had an academic scholarship program that I applied for very quickly and got it. And so I went to college not thinking I'd do sports anymore, and I majored in mathematics. And we had to write an autobiographical sketch at the time. So in doing so, I did that. And it said something about gymnastics, went on the team. Long story short, I was an All-American in tumbling and also a finalist in floor exercise, so enjoyed all of that. But then I didn't know what I wanted to do. At that time, when I graduated, you had a choice. If you were in mathematics, you could either teach mathematics or you could become an actuarian. And I did not want to calculate
death records.
So I thought in a cubicle somewhere.
Okay, now you understand, I have to interject this. You've already made everybody in my audience mad because you already had a scholarship for gymnastics and athletics and all that, and when you couldn't get that, then you just went and got an academic one. So you're Superman already. But
I wear that kind of pants, though.
So guys, listen, if we've already learned this much from him, you know what the rest of this interview is going to be like. So I can't wait to keep unraveling this. Please continue.
Okay. Then from there, I went to a high school on the south side of Chicago, Homewood Flossmoor High School, and I taught in the math department and coached gymnastics there. And then in the summers, I applied for It was called the National Science Foundation, had scholarships available, and I received one to go to Stanford to get my master's degree.
Stanford?
Yeah, in mathematics in the summers.
I always wanted to go to Stanford. I couldn't make the grades.
But I enjoyed it very much, and then I was offered the job at the University of Oklahoma, recruited Bart to come there, and another young man, Michael Wilson, who was a #1 recruit the year before Bart.
Right.
And with them together, then we won the first time OU ever qualified for the national championships. We won the national championships, which is amazing. And that was in 77, we tied, 78 we won, and then from there on. And after 84, I always felt with gymnastics that if it's going to be a viable sport, you have to prove to parents that their kids, if they can do it at a high level, a chance to get the cash in at the end, other than just a college scholarship.
So you showed them the whole picture.
So
that's your degree in mathematics.
Yeah.
You showed them that, and then showed them the cash at the end.
And I thought, if Bart can't make a living of what he's done, we can just can the whole sport of gymnastics. So we started working together, and then Nadia came in 1991, and they got married in 1996. And so
now Nadia, that's Nadia Comaneci. She scored the perfect 10.
First perfect 10 in the 76 Olympics. I was actually in the arena when she did it.
No way. Oh, I bet it just erupted when that happened.
Oh, it was unbelievable.
I remember vaguely seeing that, and that was like never been done before.
No, first time ever. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and so they married.
Yep.
So you coached Bart, he got how many gold Olympics?
2 Olympic gold medals.
2 Olympic gold medals. And then they married.
Yeah.
And she was a gold medalist.
Yeah. Well, their son always, and of course other people do too, then in their house they have 11 Olympic medals. 9 of them are Nadia's, and 2 are Bart's.
So he married up.
Yes, he sure did.
Bart, I'm sorry, but we got to give women the credit where women's.
I know. Sure, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, good. So now, were you coaching both of them at any time, or was it mainly coaching Bart, and then you just managed kind of them and their careers beyond that?
Yeah,
because you saw the whole picture.
Right. And with them, at that time I probably produced 300 arena shows all over the world. Wow. And at that time, both of them were performing in all the shows. So that's kind of got her on her feet, because people.
Now, what's an arena show?
Like at Lloyd Noble Arena, or over here where they play, the Lakers play.
Right.
You come in, it's like seeing somebody who's a musician or a singer, and they do a concert. We did a professional gymnastics show.
Really?
Yeah. And that's where I really learned that I didn't realize it, but there is a sense of creativity.
Yeah.
Production,
creativity, all that.
One of the shows you would love, it was done in Philadelphia, and I rented a 57 Chevrolet convertible, and we started through past, present, and future were the 3 acts of the show, and Bart came driving on with Nadia in the car with him, and we had 5 dancers or 4 dancers in the trunk, like you were going to a drive-in movie, and we started the television show.
So everybody listening to this podcast, the man who first invented Cirque du Soleil is right here. Whatever followed beyond that, because it's a production.
We played off of cheating, though, getting into the drive-in movies.
Right. No, that's because so you had to keep people entertained enough to come and pay to watch an event like that. Right. So it had to have a creativity, production quality, or you're performing to an empty arena.
Absolutely.
And you did how many of those?
I think it's close to 300 over the years I have.
No kidding.
We started way back in 1984. I'm doing almost none now. We have until last year. We did, I think for 15 years in a row, we did a television show that was figure skating and gymnastics. We put the gymnastics equipment right on the ice, and we connected the 2 sports, because in reality they're very similar in the part of the artistic part.
Right.
And it forces us in gymnastics, other than women's floor, to learn how to move to music. And that's the real hard thing when we first started, because we had no experience in doing that. And if you hold a handstand a little too long, you're off beat. They had to learn how to change rhythms and stuff like that.
Let go at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
So a lot of my audience are entrepreneurs. They're people wanting to get better in business. They're people who have heard no a lot in their life, and sometimes they get right on the brink of giving up on their dream. Right. Some do give up, and they come back year after year. They keep trying, and some don't. Was there ever a point in time that you felt like giving up, or maybe Bart felt like giving up, or tell me maybe a couple of short stories of how that happened and how you kept going. I mean, did you inspire yourself? Did you ever have that in your life?
Oh yes, I think everybody does. And probably the primary thing was we actually leased a building in Norman, Oklahoma, where we had it was called the Gymnastics Chalet.
Right.
And I did it really when I was the coach there to drive interest in the community so they'd come to our meets.
Sure.
And create an audience.
A Ross leader.
Yeah, and then after 84, we still held the gym and kept doing it. We're traveling a lot. And one day, one of the coaches called and he said, the guy that you're leasing the building from said you have to be out in 30 days because he sold the building right under us without anything. It was the most amazing thing. So here you are with the fact,
That's your credibility.
Yeah, and I never wanted to own buildings or real estate because I thought if I went out of this, I want to just say bye.
Yeah.
You can find me. Bankruptcy, I don't care. But I think then we started looking around for properties. We couldn't find anything. So then we bought some land and we built the Bart Conner Gymnastics Academy in Norman. And then across the parking lot, we bought another lot. And it was interesting because in 1996, actually before that, it was like 1992, I'd taken over International Gymnast Magazine, which was the #1 gymnastics magazine in the world, with absolutely no experience in publishing. But we did that. It was in Oceanside, California. So I would fly out here, spend a weekend or so, drive down there and back and forth. Then we built an office building in Norman across the parking lot from there. And at the same year, it opened in 96. We moved the magazine into there. 96, we also bought a grip company called Bailey Grips.
Right.
It's now the #1 grip company in the world. We sell more than any other grip company. And we've just sort of gone around because it was, I always tell people, you can't, people think you can create opportunities. I feel differently. You can put yourself in a position where opportunities will come to you. And you have to be willing to jump on it whether you're ready or not. We shouldn't have bought the grip company because my God, we were already deep in that. With new buildings and all this stuff. But you say,
and even that grew out of something that could have been very painful.
Oh yeah.
Somebody cancels your agreement and you say, forget it, I'm out. This is not for me. I'm going to quit. Yeah. But you didn't. You went further and.
The most difficult thing for me with the closing of the Gymnastics Chalet was that we had kept that building alive. It was back in the 79, 80 when the oil business, they had built this building and it was just a cement building.
Right.
And we rented space from them and we added on a little bit. And but we couldn't, after a while, the banks would not let us sign a contract with them because 2 of the 5 investors had filed bankruptcy. So they weren't allowed to do that because they had to sell it if they needed to.
Right.
So we kept them afloat for like 5 or 6 years, and then they
couldn't get 30 days.
You're out of there.
Oh no!
Plus, he told one of our coaches, not us. So it was so inappropriate. No. So it filtered through.
But that pushed you into something that you probably wouldn't have went out and bought land in a building.
No.
But you did, and it became one of the world's most successful companies out of that.
Yeah. Well, the best part about it is right across the street from there, the old building. And so we thumb our noses at it all the time.
Have you ever said "I told you so"?
No, but you get back.
Yeah.
I love a quote that I have on a little glass plate. It says, "The greatest revenge is massive success." And rather than getting and hammering people, attacking them personally and stuff like that, if you just get busy with what you're doing and make a huge success out of it, that is the best revenge you can do. And that's what we were able to do with them. In fact, I won't mention names because I don't want any lawsuits, but one of the people that booted us out, his son just came and stayed here. I put the place up for an auction at the Art Museum in Oklahoma City, and he and his wife bought it and they came here.
No,
and I thought, how could you do that after that? I said, because I don't care now.
I know. That is so great. So guys, I hope you're learning so much from this interview. Already we've learned that in the face of adversity, it made him take a right turn that he never would have before. He was able to purchase land, build a new building. He was able to develop companies that he wouldn't have ever developed before by not getting into the problem and trying to curse someone or be all mad at them. He just said, you know what? I'm going to be that much better and watch me go. And when they gave him the 30-day notice, he didn't say, hey, I'm out, there's no way I can recover from this. He kept growing and going and going. What put that in you though? Like, not everybody's born with that. Like, what did you have? Why didn't you go that way and just give up?
I think it comes from back when I was very young. My dad was a factory worker. I mean, should have had better, but he was a World War II veteran. He came out, there weren't jobs available. He didn't have other than a high school education. And I saw while I was growing up, he hated his work. You could tell, but he did it for us, which is admirable, I think.
Sure.
But I thought at the same time, I'm going to try so hard to find something that I love doing so that I don't have to hate work. And it was amazing. I still have that image of him walking from the edge of the street to our house because he carpooled with some men to go there, and it just was amazing to me. And I thought, I'm never going to let that happen. And I think I would appeal to your audience too, in the fact that don't become an entrepreneur to make money and get rich. It's got to be more foundational than that. It's got to be something you're passionate about doing, and it has to carry with it a multitude of things that you're interested in, helping other people or changing something in the culture that you're in that you think is unfair. You need to be driven by more than money, because the minute you become solvent and a little more solvent, you start losing the drive and the excitement of what you're doing. Yeah. And I know when Bart was first out of the Olympics, there was an oil man that helped us get the training facility at OU. We had to raise $750,000 to do it in 1979 and 80. Wow. And his name was Bob Smith. He was an oil man down in Houston. Nicest guy. Threw these parties and had a big bowl at them. People went out and they put checks in there. We'd total it up and fly back to OU and practice next day. A month later, we'd go down and have another party.
Raise some more money.
Yeah, exactly. So we learned how to do that.
Yeah.
But I think the most wonderful thing is Bart was starting to make good money. So we thought, why don't we call Bob Smith and see if he'll allow us to invest in his company, or if he might have some way of us putting the money into his company, because we believe in him. And then it was wonderful. Gentleman said, let me tell you something. He said, I'm not going to do that for you, because he said, I've learned in my climbing in the oil business that you have to be aware and know something about what you do. You should invest money, because if things take a dive, he said, I can get in and drilled or whatever I need to do because I understand the business. Yeah. You can't do that and then your money's gone. He said, I would never do that. And he said, my suggestion is you stay within the realm of what you have been raised in, what you're passionate about, and where you've gotten your accolades.
Sure.
And it was some of the best advice that
that's what Warren Buffett goes by.
Yeah, exactly.
He says, if I don't understand something and believe in it and really know it, I'm not going to get involved in it.
No, exactly.
He turned down, I guess, Bill Gates to invest in the computer industry. Right. He said, that's never going to do anything. I don't understand it. And you say, well, that was a big mistake. Well, no, it wasn't, because he still became one of the richest men in the world doing what he loved. Yeah. I always ask people, what would you do if you didn't get paid?
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, what would you do if you didn't get paid? Well, could you wake up every morning and kick the sheets off the bed and go to work?
Well, I'm 76 years old, and everybody's telling me, why don't you retire? You got, and I said, because I've never hated work. I don't hate work. And people,
it's not work.
But people, I think sometimes there are two things that I think make it difficult as an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Because when you create a company, you have a love for it and you want the employees to be happy. You're doing, and at least I think most of us are, the most you can for your employees. But there's that sense that the company is the enemy for most employees. Mm. It's like they complain about it. They want to make more money. Yeah. And I tell people, if the company can't make money, you can't have a job. Right. You can't say, well, you made this much money. Well, I have to do. And I think, for example, in a gymnastics club situation, the coaches see this huge influx of money coming in. Right. They don't realize that to rent the building, Bart Conner has to pay me $12,000 a month to rent the thing. So, and they have to pay rent. Right. You have all the coaches to pay and everything else. So, which is this huge pot of gold, as they see it, shrinks down pretty fast. Right. And I think you have to be aware of those kinds of situations and realize that I try to make the employees feel as special as I can, and I think that's important. I'm like, even in the grip business, I'm not above, and all of the employees are going back in the back and make grips if we get a huge order and do it.
Right.
I think you have to engage with your people. I would never want to recommend somebody who's starting a business to be above what the work is themselves. You have to be willing to do every job. Even if some of them I do quite poorly, I'm still willing to do it. You know? And I say, I wouldn't sell this product, but I did it.
Right.
But I think there are some things that you learn about when you get into having your own business. It's not quite as cut and dry as you think. And I think, I always try to, we have a break room where I always supply it. I swear to God, nobody brings lunch. They eat there. We don't serve lunches, but there's all sorts of snacks.
It's not a lunchroom, it's your restaurant.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And but I want them to know that I appreciate them. But I also don't want to hear them say that they hate to work, because I don't think work has to be a negative.
Right.
And I think there are too many people that feel that way. And they always ask me, where do you go on vacation? I said, my whole life is a vacation.
I love that.
I love that. I don't want to go for 2 weeks to some place and do nothing. I would be crazed.
Right.
Especially now in the computer age. I want my computer. No, I don't. I want my computer. No, I don't. It's terrible. Yeah.
I love that. Well, guys, I hope you have gotten so much out of this. There are so many lessons learned, and I didn't get to share this with Paul when we first started, but I like all of my guests to drop golden nuggets. This guy has put a bucket full of golden nuggets in front of us. I honestly, to feel the energy of this man right now, from my standpoint, has helped me in ways already. I usually talk a lot during these, and I can't hardly even talk now because of how much you've inspired me.
Well, thank you.
And I mean that I don't need anything from you, you don't need anything from me, but I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
But isn't that the role that we should take on? Yeah. I mean, I always tell the story about the problems that Oprah Winfrey got into when, everybody says, you have so much money, why don't you change the world? And she said, I have a lot of money, but not enough to change the whole world. Right. But if every one of us would do a little bit to help a couple of other people, whether you employ them if you're an entrepreneur, or whether you bring them in for dinner when they can't afford dinner, whatever, if you can help 1 or 2 people, imagine if everybody did that.
Right.
What that
with
would
no
mean.
Judgment.
I know, with no judgment.
We were like, I gotta add this. I know we're out of time, but I gotta add this. We were just upstairs on is it the 3rd floor?
3rd floor, yeah.
The 3rd floor. We went up through the ceiling. And he came out and shows me this beautiful ocean view. The ocean's right there. You almost feel like you can touch it. And he said, Henry, I get so inspired here. And I'm so, I feel like I could be so creative because I saw some people out there on the boardwalk and they were performing. And one lady had a 80-year-old with a sequins bikini, and another guy's tall and he's playing a ukulele. And he said, and not only were there no judgments, but people were paying him. So he said, this is my place. And I said, wouldn't it be great if the world had no judgment? Like, if we could all do that part, and not just right here in this room. We've got 4 or 5 people in this room with us. If I just don't judge these people and operate from a heart of love, unconditional love, meaning love with no conditions, wouldn't the world be and then out of that you get so creative, Paul, you go on forever.
Well, what business do we have of trying to tell people how they should live their lives? We have no business doing that. Yes. I tell people, you have to remember, you come into this world by yourself and you go out by yourself.
Yeah.
You better find enough time in that life, that span of time, to love yourself. Because if you don't, you're in deep trouble. And most people, I think, don't love themselves. So in trying to compensate for that, they try to force other people to live a life different than the person wants to live.
Right. Based on their expectations, not who the person is.
Yeah, we have no right to interfere with any other person's life, I don't believe.
Well, if you should happen to run for president this year, I know you don't want to, but I would vote for you.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Guys, Henry the Business Fighter, Paul Ziert, coming at you from his beach. Thank you so much for opening your home to us here in Venice Beach. And whatever you guys can do to get affiliated with him, the magazine, the Grip Company, go back. Do me a favor. Think of 10 people that would benefit from listening to this podcast. Copy the link down right now and send it to them, because this guy's got something worth listening to. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Have a great day.
Thank you.